It's Frank, Vyral Marketing. I want you to meet David Brownell today. He's in Las Vegas. 30 years selling real estate, 30 years. Up and down markets, crazy Las Vegas market, has a gazillion vendors over the years that have tried to sell to him. And I'm sure, could you imagine all the vendor calls you've gotten over 30 years, Dave?
Yeah, tons.
And, his business is up. The reason we're doing this interview is that in 2022 to 2023, he ended last year, 2023, with doing more business at a higher price point than 2022, where for most in 2023, business was down. I mean, they just published at the time of this recording a couple of days ago that December was the lowest number of existing home sales in 30 years. Did you read that, David? 30 years. And your business was up, and that's something you should be really proud of. So I figured we could spend some time today and talk about why. What did you do? What's working? Maybe you can share your insights of 30 years and how you had a successful 2023 with the audience.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing that our business, Tiffany and my business, has really focused on first and foremost has been the relationships that we have and that we've built in our community, and just levering or taking advantage of those opportunities to help people that are close to us. And so that was always the foundation of our business. And when the market shifted, so we came out of 2022, the first part of 2022, and it was so easy to you just got in the way of business. And then middle of 2022 and beyond into 2023, business didn't happen so readily, or it wasn't just falling off trees. And so we went back to that core foundation. We went back and got connected more deeply with our sphere, with our past clients. It was very similar to the time I likened it to when the interest rates changed. For me, it was my new COVID. And so the same thing when the pandemic set in March of 2020, April of 2020, we buckled down and got connected with the people who were close to us, our sphere, our network, our past clients. And so we did that same thing when interest rates went through the roof, because it was just a different fear. People weren't scared of a health scare and losing their lives, but they were scared they remembered the recession of the late 2000s. They saw these interest rates going up. And I think there was a lot of initial fear that here we go again. And so we just got back to those folks, calmed their fears, let them know it was going to be okay, and that we were going to guide them and advise them through any real estate stuff they had to face over the next weeks, months, maybe even years ahead. And that just seemed to go well.
65 sales in 2022, 850,000 GCI, 75 sales in 2023, 1.1 million GCI, but you also raised your price point. So let's talk about that. When did you have this maximum anxiety and fear in 2022? Like, what was the month where you're like, I got to really get my act together for 2023? Tell me at that point. Let's talk about what you did.
Well, right. I mean, it was just when, I was in the middle of, it's interesting because I was in a real estate deal myself. I was in the middle of helping my mom purchase a home back in Iowa, my hometown. And when the interest rate jumped from 3 3/4 to 5.5 practically overnight, I panicked and I thought, this is terrible. And at that time, 5.5 seemed like I was getting, it was the end of the world. Not to mention that I can't, imagine if I'd have waited and had my rate climb up into the 6s and even 7s. And so I made that decision in the 5s, and it startled me so much. And I was the professional, I was the trusted advisor for so many folks that I thought, wow, this is something that people are feeling right now. And I drew that analogy to COVID, like I said, and we even changed the same scripts and dialogues that we were using, that we took advantage of during the pandemic. We just changed the language from COVID-19 to the spike in interest rates, and every script worked, and it got us in connection with, back our people felt good. Many of them weren't planning on making a real estate decision, but those that were, they wanted guidance and advice more than ever. And so it really took advantage of our strengths, which was just that consultative approach that we've always had. And more people, even on the fringes of our network and sphere, were in our camp.
What a great self-aware analogy is that if this startled me and I'm the expert, this has to create a complete panic among the people I know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm like, wait, you're not supposed to feel this way. You're the guy. And so when that comes over me, I'm like, shit. I mean, darn, I can only imagine what people that aren't in my shoes, that don't have 30 years of experience, are feeling and facing and dealing with right now. And that was a big win for us because there was a need for that in the market. Everybody was kind of in a state of kind of initial shock that rates sevens. Are you crazy? I mean, and so as we look back now, 6-7% is pretty normal. We just got so used to abnormal, or the anomaly of low interest rates.
So you're having this moment of anxiety, this moment of clarity, this realization. You pull out a piece of paper and you start writing down the dominoes in order of what you have to do to make sure your business doesn't go down, which ended up increasing your business in 2023. Tell me those things. Give me those things in order where your focus went to make sure that you're.
Yeah, I mean, I went right back. So the first thing we did is we got out the list of last few months expense reports and looked at where we were spending our money. So the first place, not to network, to grow the business or figure out how we were going to get business, but it was just to shore up and protect the business, get it lean, and be more cautious and be thoughtful about where all the money was being spent and whether it was working or how well it was working, and just to try to increase some efficiencies. And then we went back and looked at, I think that shame on me for saying this and for it happening, but in good times, I tend to take advantage of or take for granted some of the things that maybe I shouldn't. And so I think I probably was taking for granted my network and assumed it always would be there. And I was out looking for strangers and for a long time in 2021 and 2022, because it just seemed like all one needed to do was get in the way of business and it would happen. And so we went back and looked at what we were doing with our sphere. We increased our touches. We added a small event, an appreciation event, in addition to the other things that we were doing. We tried to make it so that we had a unique touch or reason to contact them, or with a gift or something every month. And so we just wanted to stay that fresh in front of them, not with real estate content, with just love and friendship and support. And that again, that worked. It worked really well.
Let's dive into that. So how many people are on, would you say, your small list where they get a monthly value?
Yeah. So
How big's that list?
the target was always our top 150, and I think we learned that number from you. It's some guy that said, yeah, Dunbar's number. There you go. So 150 was the magic number for me. It was always the top 150. But you know how it goes, Frank. I mean, that 150 is now like 193. So
It's fine. Well, it can be larger if you actually research it. It can be larger, like super connectors, salespeople. It's a larger number. It's just the concept that you can only hold relationships with so many people, and some can hold more than others.
it's hard.
193 is, but when someone's watching this, they're usually thinking like, oh, I have like thousands of emails. But you had to say, yeah, that's fine. We'll hit all that. But no, where's my list of 150? They're going to get real love from me because I only have time for so many. And you rebuilt that and reconnected with that. That was like the big thing for you.
So here's another aha that came to me, is that I think it's like almost parasocial behavior, the parasocial phenomenon. It's this idea that we watch the 10 o'clock news every night and we see the same newscaster as the anchor, and then run into that person at a local restaurant and we treat them like we know them because we see them every night on the television. You got me into video, and I don't think I started my video back in 2020, 2021, and I didn't realize how much leverage, how significant making a video and just sending it out in an email to multiple people in my network, how much leverage I got, how much connection I got, almost like it was a one-on-one conversation. So I was able to be way better in touch with people just through the videos that I was making, not as much the personal phone calls or the live pop-in visits or crossing paths in a local, in a joint, in a common destination that, I connect with a number of people in my network. So the video became a great way to stay better connected with that top 150.
Let's talk about that. So, all right, look at your expenses. Get serious about your network because you're going after strangers in a hot market because it's easy. Got it. I really got to go deep on 150 people here. Let's make that list, which is generally kind of painful to do to figure out who makes the cut or not. Just curious, how did you know if they made the cut or not for your 150 initially? What was the
Well, for me, it varied by the mood I was in at whatever part day I was going through that segment of the list. Some days there were a lot of A's or people that made it, and some days there weren't very many. But it was kind of random. I hate to say that, but it just, you go through and my gut told me. And I think I went through I think the list was probably about 700 or 800 that I even got to be looked at. And the first run through, I think I only got to 60. And I'm like, oops. And so then I loosened things up, but I got there. It's very interesting when you do for me, it was very interesting creating that list of 150 and being really serious and getting to 150, how Dunbar, you just don't know as many people as you think you know. And so that was an aha, but that's okay, because I think that takeaway for me was a big aha was, hey, it's 50 or 60 people that you need to make if you'd only talk to them once a month, that's only a few touches, 4 or 5 a month. Come on, that's not very difficult to get that core group and to build and to have your foundational business built around that. And so I just got serious about that.
so after the 150, you're like, okay, I need to really adjust my message with what I'm doing with Vyral. I need to find topics that really resonate given what you were talking about during COVID. So tell me what you started talking about, what topics you started publishing throughout 2023 that resonated.
We talked a lot about just how it used to be real easy, that it didn't take maybe a trusted advisor, an expert, a seasoned consultant to help you through real estate in a market where everybody was making money and prices had been going up for 5-10 years. But now, with all the uncertainty and the confusion and so many variables at play, from interest rates being first and foremost, to the impact that prices were going to have in the market, to the supply shortage that now we're into like 15 years of an overall supply shortage, which is really messing with simple economics, to all the government interventions that have happened over the course of the last 12 to 18 months in trying to manipulate or impact or affect the economy. There was so much uncertainty and confusion that I just talked about that message mostly, and just tried to relate to the fact that people were feeling some unease, some angst, and for some more than that, because they were in the middle of real estate, whether that was some investment that they had jumped into, they were in the middle of sold their house and wanting to buy, or in a temporary housing trying to buy. Rates had gone up, and all of a sudden they didn't afford no longer the new home that they'd locked up and was halfway built. So much going on that I just talked to that topic and it worked.
That's great. Okay. How many agents do you have with you?
Well, we were growing, and we got up to 8 agents, and it was good because we had just gone from 2 to 8, and I really felt some traction and some positivity. And then that was the other thing, was when the market shifted, I I I learned that, whoa, all of a sudden our front end lead generation system wasn't as good as I thought. And secondly, I learned that if people came to my team and they didn't have a network or a sphere themselves, it was going to be very hard for them to acclimate into my system, because so much of what we teach starts with that network, your relationships, and then we build out from there. Somebody that wanted to come in and say, hey, where's my leads today? Or, hey, where's, help me find this opportunity, that they ran out of steam, and we had so many folks get in and then decide to go back to get a full-time job or a salary position. So right now we're four salespeople, me and three others, and that's not bad. I still have visions to grow a larger team where I am no longer an operator, but owner, and running a business with a sales team that's out producing and winning in their world, as well as helping me win in mine. But as this time, Frank, has allowed me to kind of take a step back and pause on that. Maybe it's not all it's cracked up to be. I certainly, some of my colleagues have done it and arguably have done it well, but is it really that well? And so I'm really kind of thinking about how I want my business to look going forward, given the advent and the full on come of AI, and what that offers, and also what limitations that creates or what it replaces. And so I'm kind of thinking that through right now as we endure through this 2023 and kind of shake out of this recession and kind of some of this uncertainty. I'm figuring out kind of what my next pivot, my next big opportunity is.
You did a lot of business last year. That's a quality number, man. All right. Can you give the audience a little insight to your daily schedule, as well as the follow-up question I'll ask you? So your daily schedule, like what you do to find your morning routine and whatnot, how many people you talk to in prospecting. And the follow-up question I'm going to ask you to that is, with doing all that business and having four agents and having a life, I just want to talk a little bit also about how you find the space and the time to sit down and create content in the middle of all the chaos. All right, so that's the follow-up question. So first one, tell me about your schedule and your day and your calls, and what are you doing to be productive to find business?
Yeah, so that's probably, wow, Frank, you it's like you know me, and so you nailed a chord there, because if I would say right now the place where I'm most focused or really kind of zeroed in on is just that, is kind of recalibrating a schedule and a life of a schedule. I have maintained too much flexibility in my schedule for too long. I have set appointments and set things that I need to get done each week, but with all this content that needs to be produced, and I don't even scratch the surface for the amount of content that I really want to be producing for the things that I need to do today, as well as I still have to be in production, because I think so many business owners, or so many folks that have visions of moving in my direction, from going from operator to owner, in these times you step back, you sit back down in the chair, and you have conversations, because hey, that's the way you're certain that business happens, and I got to pay the bills and make sure revenue's coming in, and right now that forced me to get back in the chair and do some of that work. So yeah,
So you're rewriting the morning schedule, what you're going to do to be productive.
it's a mess, because yeah, in the ideal dream world, I want to have a smart day and get up. I want to be in the 5 a.m. club, but damn it, 6 a.m. seems my body seems to resonate more with 6 a.m. than it does with 5 a.m. So there's 1 hour gone, but I need to find more time, or I need to get more efficient and get scheduled better than I am, because I don't have the time to make the content, and I want to make the content, not just the daily shorts. But for example, tonight I have a home seller workshop, and that's got to be videoed, and so I'm trying to get content from some of the other things I'm doing so that it doubles up. But that's also hard, because tonight my main video guy's not around, so the scramble that you make just to keep all the pieces in place is interesting. So I've got some adjustments to make. My schedule's a mess right now. I would say that's, you nailed on kind of what my focus is right now for this first quarter, is to get that sorted out and organized, because I need more of me.
That's this is very common, Dave. I'm so glad you're sharing this. Let's go through what you did to go from 65 to 75 and grow your business in that market. You looked at expenses. kind of had this aha, you're taking your network for granted. So you came up with your 150, which was a stretch, right? From your original 60 to like touch on them every month with a gift to something really deep, right? Which, by the way, should be part of your morning schedule to have like 5 names, whatever it is, right? Yeah, I know. Yep. Shifting the messaging with Vyral with your videos, and then cutting agents or them just leaving effectively because you don't have this stranger business coming in. Is there anything else that moved the needle, honestly, that you think allowed you to grow in 2023 that we're leaving out?
Well, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I think that I one thing that I would say helped was I had a lot of mentors, a lot of leaders. I was paying attention to too many people and a lot of different ideas. And some of those ideas conflicted, or some of the concepts within a one themed topic, one strategy. Not everybody thinks the same way about how to approach or how to get to the results that one wants. And so I pared back. I mean, I really limited from I focused on marketing, and I said, if I really want to come in and understand, in addition to my sphere, how can we drive and get more business? And so we looked in on our lead sources, the ones that were the getting us our best leads, the ones furthest down the funnel. We spent more time converting them and being relentless there.
Give me those. Obviously, database can be two more.
The second source I would say would be just getting better with the online leads that were deeper down the pipeline. So people that were looking for a real estate professional to give them advice or consult on some topic related to real estate. And so, you could talk about target paid for leads at the top of the Facebook leads, the Google AdWord leads, and then you could talk about the Zillow leads or the HomeLight leads, or leads of folks that are actually now looking for a real estate professional. And we spent more time communicating with those leads and working on scripts specifically for those leads and follow up with those leads. So we got better at converting some of the stranger leads that were down deeper in the pipeline. We also followed this. We went in and focused on the old leads, and there was so much opportunity in the old leads in our database, not just the new fresh, because some of those are 6.
How did you do that?
Well, we went back into the pond. We went into our pond. So we keep all of the leads that have come in over the last months, years, all stay if they're not connected with, they go into a one segment of our database that's called the pond. And so that's everybody, all the fish. And so we just went in and started to identify by our different tags what leads and what sources were further down the pipeline or in the funnel further, and we actually got on the phones with those people, and we just until we reached them. And so we got very refined in some of the lists that we had inside of our pond based on some of the tags, and tried to find closer to action business, and it worked. That works some too.
David, you just gave me an idea. And I want to shoot a Facebook video with you right now on this interview. All right. You said you went back to the old leads in your database and the online leads to try to find someone. I was very specific in the language you used. That are you looking for advice for something anything that has to do with real estate? Do you feel uncertain? Do you feel confused? And do you just need someone to talk to with anything related to real estate?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it wasn't trying to even make sales. It was just trying to conversations.
So that message, I'm going to write that on a Facebook ad.
Just want somebody to talk to about real estate.
Yeah. And then instead of like driving to a landing page or a website, I'm just going to run it on mobile for retargeting. So it's only going to show up on cell phones. And it's going to say tap to call.
Yeah. Great.
Right.
I think there's folks.
So let's create.
I think there's folks out there that aren't ready to buy or sell, but they need some certainty before they can even get those thoughts back into their head. And so I'm just actually allowing them to have the freedom to communicate about real estate and ask questions, because so many people keep it quiet because they don't want to look like a fool amongst their friends or family if they don't know what they're talking about in a market that's as complicated as this one is.
All right. Look right at the lens for me, will you?
Okay.
So don't look at me. Look right at the lens. And just give me 30 seconds. You're on someone's mobile news feed. I want you to start off saying, are you looking for some advice on real estate? Are you looking to talk to a professional? There's uncertainty in the market. I have experience. Just tap here and you're just going to call me and I'm going to help you guide through whatever you need. Sell me someone tapping to call you on their cell phone right now. Look into the lens. Go.
So there's a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. And sometimes it's just good to have an expert, a professional that you can talk to ask the questions that you got. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready to buy a home or you need to sell your home by next week, but they're just questions, and people have a lot of uncertainty, and just getting some answers to some of the things you're thinking about or wondering about gives us ease. It makes us feel safer. So if you got those questions and you don't have anyone to talk about, I'm a real estate agent for 30 years in this market. I know what I'm talking about. I study the market and I can answer your questions. Just feel comfortable reaching out. Click on the button below and we can talk whatever you want to talk about.
Great. Do it again.
Okay.
Smile.
All right.
And look right at the lens.
Okay.
More energy.
So the market's loaded with uncertainty and there's a lot of questions out there. And unfortunately, people don't have anybody that they can talk to. And so they just clam up, they shut down, and they become paralyzed. Well, what I'm offering is for you a place to get some questions answered. If you've got a question, not about buying or selling a house, maybe just any question about real estate, you don't have to want to buy or sell for me to make time to answer some of these questions. People need certainty. People need to feel at ease. And if you've got some unease or angst in this market and you got some questions, reach out. I'm here to answer them, and I can give you some good advice, and hopefully it'll help out.
You nailed that. That's excellent. So that's the energy. That's what I want. We're going to do it one more time. I'm going to add a little extra 5% at the end to make it perfect. I want you to use the word you instead of people. I want you to say the exact same thing, but you. I now want you to talk to one person. Talk to them right into the lens. You, go.
So the real estate market's kind of messy. It's confusing. It's complicated. And you don't know what the hell's going on out there. Yeah, I can relate to that. I felt that same way when I was trying to help my mom deal with her real estate. And so I know what people are feeling. I know what you're feeling. And it sucks not having someone that you can talk to about real estate. Not about I'm ready to buy or hey, I need to sell next week. But what about just some of the questions about what's going on, what to expect, what's going to change, what's going to be different? Having some of those questions answered for you can give you the ease, the certainty, and take away some of that fear and angst. That's what I'm here to do. I've been selling real estate in Las Vegas for 30 years. I can help you out. Feel free to call. Let's talk. I'll answer your questions.
Perfect. So that was all recorded on this interview. And I'm going to see if I can create a little ad for you. Doesn't it sound interesting? Yeah. I was one of the little things that I like to do is I go through the Inc. 5000 in my free time. I'm a total geek. You can go to inc5000.com and you can arguably see the 5,000 fastest growing companies. And I sort it by advertising agencies.
You do.
And yeah, I'm like, I wonder what they're selling. Clearly must be in demand and people are selling it. So there's this whole company I found where all they do is they run mobile ads, click to call.
Yeah.
Do you just want more people calling you? We're just going to literally take an ad, grab all your database, and run an ad that basically says just call. It's all, and they run an entire pay-per-call model. I was like, that's a good idea. And you just said it in the interview.
Yeah.
You brought that up.
Just somebody to talk to. I think that people, yeah.
And also one of the, I'm writing you those lead generation messages every month. One of the ones that will come out, it's on the website, but it is just a free real estate strategy call. Do you just want to book a call with me to talk about selling real estate? That's one of the 12 immediate direct offers that I'm writing for you every month that I'll put together for you. It's a part of the program.
Yeah.
All right. So that's good to know. Dave, thank you. This was helpful. Let's recap. To go from 65 sales to 75 sales from 2022 to 2023, from 850,000 GCI to 1.1 million. Double down expenses. Don't take your network for granted. Go really deep on your top 150, now 190 something. No more agents that don't perform. Get more relevant topics to enter the conversation that's going on in people's heads of fear and uncertainty and reassurance. Really pick which now that you have all the different ideas out there from all the mentors and you can compare them all, pick the one that feels right to you now that you've seen everything out there. All right. And it looks like you really work the old leads in the database.
Yeah.
Would you say that sums up the majority of how you did it?
That is it. I mean, it's not very glamorous, or sexy, but it worked. And it was just back to the basics for a year where I had uncertainty and fear. And so I went back to those core things and here we are. And so now it's for 2024. Thank you.
Dave, thanks for your time, man.